Hello. I just wanted to tell everybody thank you for coming yesterday, and I also wanted to tell you it went pretty good for the first meeting. There was some snags because of people trying to get in, and the settings that I had for the meeting were will be changed for the next time. There was people waiting to get in; they couldn't get in unless I admitted them. I had a waiting room there, so that won't be there next time. You just go to Tarot Maps again, and you'll just be click and go right into the room. And it went well. Sorry again for people that tried to get in and couldn't. But it's going to always be the same time, same day, second Tuesday of every month, 12 o'clock noon Chicago time. And so hope you enjoy this, and hope I see you next month. That's it. Bye.
I'm here from London.
Tarot Live, Tarot Girl Live from London. All right, we got London, we got Ireland,
I'm
got
Canada. Canada.
Canada. Grace, you're from Canada? Okay. We got India here. You're from India. Oh no, Ruben
Mexico.
Mexico. Look, we're all over the place here. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Let me hang up my sweater. There. Okay. All
Hi
right.
Vincent, how you doing?
Okay. Well, it's nice. Shell, how are you?
Good,
to see
thanks.
you. I'm
Calling
glad
in from Dubai.
Where's that?
Oh, nice. Nice.
Dubai, in the Middle East.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Welcome. I'm glad we got everybody from all
Okay.
over the world here. This
You
is
seem
fantastic.
surprised. You shouldn't be.
Well, I'm kind of new to this.
You're a celeb, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. All right.
You've
Yeah,
got the
right.
United Nation here.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm glad it all worked out well. And who knows where this is going to go. But it looks like it's going to be a fun time. And I don't know what we should really do. I could sit here, I could talk about something. If somebody had a question about something specific, I could go into it. I don't know if anybody has anything specific. I was going to talk about things that I saw in comments of my YouTubes. And I thought, well, I'll wait and see what you guys want to talk about, but I made a YouTube and I wasn't able to process it, because what I did is I took the major arcana and I put one of the songs that I remember from the 60s or 70s that I thought would identify and be associated with that card. And I think old music really, really sparks something in you. And you could really identify it to a card if you wanted to do it that way. And it brings about another whole meaning to the card. So I'm just going to give you a quick list of what I had for the major arcana. Not in order, though. I had Night Shift by the Commodores for the Hermit.
Okay.
Abraham Martin and John by Dion for that was for inspiration, for the Temperance card. Both Sides Now, Joni Mitchell was the Hangman. Both sides.
Annie Santana.
Black Magic Woman, High Priest.
Excellent. Yes,
High
yes,
Priestess,
yes,
Black
yes, yes.
Santana.
Excellent.
Stairway to Heaven was Judgment, Led Zeppelin.
Very good. Yeah.
You're showing your age.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, I
showing
know.
your age, Vincent.
Yeah, right. Dream a Little Dream of Me by Mama Cass was
All
the star
right.
card.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe next month we can select one song and have a sing-along to start off with.
I had for the world, I had 10 years after, If I Could Change the World.
Wow.
Excellent.
Yeah, Eve of Destruction for the Tower card, Barry McGuire.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, Good Vibrations, the Beach Boys. Beach Boys, I had two. Good Vibrations for the Sun, and for the Chariot, Little Deuce Coupe. So it was fun to do that. And I made this whole thing, all 22 cards, saying the artist and the year. You know, the Emperor was Duke of Earl by Chandler, I think is his name. And Duke of Earl, Gene Chandler, yeah. And I made the YouTube and I put it up, but they wouldn't play it because the rights to those songs.
Oh.
That's right.
I wasn't able to do it. Even though I had no advertising on the YouTube and none of my books or nothing on there, I just put it up there. And I said, you know, I showed the artist name, the year, and then the song, and then the card that I thought it would relate to. So anyway, that's one thing I wanted to mention. Another thing I thought I'd talk about was reverse meanings, because a lot of people talk about that. And I don't really, everybody knows I don't really use them. Well, most people, you know that. But I never liked them because with reverse meanings, you have a card that if it's faced one way, it means one thing. And if it's faced the other way, it means something different. And I always look at those two meanings and I've always combined them with just the card's meaning. And because I know with reverse meanings, it always worked out where you could see, you look at one card and you say, well, this would make perfect sense if it was faced the other way. But it's faced reverse or it's faced right side up. And you say, no, it doesn't work that way. And I'm thinking, well, the meanings are the same. All the meanings are work together no matter what position, which way the card is faced. I just use them, the meanings, however it seems to fit with the reading, regardless of which way the card is faced. And that always worked best for me. But I have friends of mine who use reverse meanings, and they love them, you know. So either way you want to work it is fine. But when I first started reading, they didn't have them. They didn't have reverse meanings. I used the Tarot Marseille and the instruction book that came with that deck, the little pamphlet that comes with the deck and the box. There were no reverse meanings. But that deck, a lot of the cards in that deck are designed not to have a reverse. There is no right side up or upside down. If you take like the Five of Pentacles, Eight of Wands, maybe, let's say, you'll see that there's no way of knowing which way right side up or upside down was. And then later on, in certain books, I don't know what those books are anymore because I don't have them anymore, but they would say, take the, mark the card, put a black mark or something on the bottom of the card so you know if it's reverse or not, because the card didn't show any reverse. There was no way of knowing. And then when the Rider deck came out, that was obviously, that was 1970. And when that started taking off, obviously reverse meanings are easy with that deck. But originally they didn't really use them. So that made a difference. And if you don't need them, I always thought, why have them? You know, but if you use them, that's great. I mean, they work. You know, and the cards today, if you're not using the Marseille, there's decks out there that are great with reverse meanings, you know. So it's up to you. There's no wrong way to read them. Now, what's that? I'm getting dings. I don't know what that means. 70 participants. 70. Hello, all. It says they got some. I don't see all these people, but oh, I see. Now I'm seeing some. Go ahead and say hi if you want. You shouldn't be muted. Everybody's unmuted, as far as I know. And Mila, I see you.
How are you? Good evening. Here is an evening.
Hello.
I'm from. Hey, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Nice to see you.
Pleasure.
I'm glad you
I'm
made
a
it.
big fan. Yeah, here is, I think, 8 o'clock. It's kind of late.
Okay, 8 o'clock? Okay. This is going to be recorded too. I'm recording it now. So it'll be on YouTube if people missed it and they want to see it. You know, it'll be there. Well, Rick, I know you have a website and I know you're a reader.
Right.
I,
Well, as you can see by my outfit, I got called out of retirement because of the coronavirus. So I'm protecting a 98,000 square foot building that laid off 500 people. So, but I didn't have any clients because of the virus. So I said, well, I might as well do this until I can start seeing clients again. Because I only see them, you know, in the
Sure.
room. I don't do telephone readings. Just real quick, I've been just like Vince. I've been reading for over 40 years. I got started in the 70s. My card of preference. This sounds like a 12-step program. My card of preference is Rider-Waite. And over the years, I thought I knew a lot. Until I discovered Vincent's videos, and it's been a fun trip for about a year now. So keep up the good work, Vincent. We
well,
appreciate it.
you
And
too, Rick.
get your mat out soon.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's fun. I'm having fun with that. It'll be out. Thanks, Rick. Thank you.
All right.
I like that we're like in a 12-step thing here. Yeah, we should stand up. My name's Vince. I'm a terraholic.
Hello, Vince.
So, beginner, I'm at the point now where I'm pretty confident that I have a basic understanding of all the cards. So
Okay.
for me, I have a little question. What's next? Do I start 3-card reading for myself? Do I draw 1 card?
Okay. Well, I'd say what's next is whatever you feel like doing, whatever you feel comfortable with. 3-card, I like a 3-card. 3-card spreads are nice because the card's got to work with you. You have to make some type of a message with 3 cards now. And so 1 card has to blend in and make sense with another card to the 3rd card to make some type of a message or an idea that we're looking at.
Is it
And,
kind of like a story? Kind of like?
It can be, sure. You can make a story out of 1 card, but if you're using a card spread, you're looking at different aspects of a question, each position. Let's just say a 3-card spread, you're looking at the past, the present, and the future about this particular issue, whatever it happens to be. And I think that it's nice to make, this shows that the cards flow with each other. Well, 1 card's going to interpret this part of it, then it flows into the next card, and they work with each other this way. Instead of looking at each card isolated, I like to have the cards work with each other in some way, and I think that the 3-card spread does that well.
Okay, thank you.
So I would say that's a good way to practice. Also,
Yeah,
another thing you can do is read the past.
Oh,
Because now, let's say you know a coworker who's going through, or let's say they went through a divorce last year, and they're a friend of yours, and you're at home by yourself now, but you want to play around with the cards, and visualize yourself reading that coworker, and throw down 3 cards, and see if you could see that situation that happened in the past in those 3 cards. Because you already know what happened because it's in the past. So look at those cards, and those cards you'll be able to identify those cards in some way to make a connection with what's happened. And basically what we're doing with the cards is we're looking at events, whether they happen or not. You could look at them as something in the past and look at it and see it in those cards if you want, which is why I like to journal. If you've got a journal, and let's say you're reading somebody and you document those cards and the message you had from that reading, and you date it May 12th, 2020. Well, let's say July, this person comes back to you. You can go back to their reading and see where they were. And now you're in the present with them, another date. You can go back and see if what came to pass was what was in that reading 2 months ago. And if it's not there, you could throw those cards back out again and look at those cards until you see what happened. Say, well, I saw this differently. This is what happened, but I'm seeing this card now because I know what happened because we're here now. Now I see that card as, okay, this is what that was. And so it's if you're looking at the present or the past with the cards, it allows you to see them because you know what happened.
Well, that's super helpful.
Yeah, I
Really, yeah.
think it's a good way to do it.
Okay.
The card reading is all about getting ideas.
Yeah.
And an idea is a prediction. If I think I'm going to do this and this will happen in the future, that's a prediction. And so once you got an idea, then I think you're better off focusing on making that happen.
Vincent,
Yeah, Ruben.
let's say you had a good reading for a client, 30-minute reading. It went really well. They liked it. The question when they leave is, how soon should I come back to you for another reading?
How soon should I come back to you for another reading? You know, people will come back to you for readings often. Some people will come. It all depends on I don't think there's really a time, unless there's something significant that you know is going to be happening. Say, okay, let's say, am I going to get a job promotion? My evaluation is in June 1st, and now it's May 12th. You could say, well, there's certain things you could do right now that will help your job promote this thing. Do this, get this in order, get prepared for this when you have the interview. Make sure this is in line. Or let's say it was just before the job interview. Let's say certain things happened a couple days before that, and you wanted to check and fine tune things even more. Yeah, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I wouldn't do a lot of it. I would have something. You're looking for a strategy, and I would say you're better off taking action on that strategy from what you found in those cards, and keeping track of that. And yeah, if you want to fine tune something a month later or something, it depends on what kind of a situation. I wouldn't say there's any specific time frame that works well with every situation. They're all different. And then you're going to have certain clients that want a reading anyway, and they're going to be calling you daily. And there's no reason to have the reading. They just want to know if something changed. And that's hard. That's hard to deal with. I mean, I deal with it. You'll deal with it, but basically, you're basically telling them the same thing over and over again. You tell them just to, they just want some peace of mind and they want some reassurance. But it's not really necessary to have a reading like that. Lots of times people just want a confirmation that things are going along okay. Go back, just tell them the same thing you told them before. So usually the people will set that pace for you. And if it's going to be like something set for June 1st, you could say, well, let's have another reading June 1st and see where you're at. See how it went. Here's what I'm seeing happening. Do this, do that, buy a new suit, or get a haircut, whatever it happens to be. Make sure you have your annual things that you've done for the job all year long in place. So everything you've done, prepare all this stuff. Talk about the golf game and you had it on the company picnic, and have all that stuff in order. And then after just prepare for that. Now, after the meeting, you can say, well, let's have another reading after the meeting happened, and we'll see where we're at. But that's what I'll usually do. So it all depends. Hello, Diane Keene. Diane, how are you?
Hi.
John, I see all sorts of people here now. And 3 waiting. More people admitting. I got to let these people in here. We have people coming in, and I don't know, just all sorts of people here. I thought I had the door open, so I thought everybody could come in. I'm keeping an eye on things over here with this. Okay, lots on YouTube saying, trying to get in. Yes, I see that from Wendy. Thank you for letting me know. And now I'm seeing I got to keep an eye on that. I thought that door was open and they can just come right in. Now that's what I'll do next month is I won't have a waiting room. They'll just come right into this thing. And so there's a waiting room that they have there on Zoom. You go enter into that and then you wait to get admitted. I have to let you in. So that must be set to wait in the waiting room. Next month, it'll just be open for you all. So if you miss some time here, I think what I'll do is I'll mute all now. Okay, I'm getting some thumbs up on that. Okay, I'm going to mute all now. Current and new participants will be muted.
Well, how do I talk to them? These.
All right, all right, I just did that now. Now everybody's muted. Nobody could talk but me. I got all your attention. Sharon, hi. And people are trying to get in the room. No, I don't have anybody right now. Okay. But anyway, so what I'll do at this point, if you have a question, type it in off to the side and I'll see if I can answer it for you. As far as decks go, everybody knows that I use the Rider-Waite and I also use the Marseille. There's a lot of different decks I've used over time. They're all beautiful decks. If you have a deck that you know, when I first started reading, there was only the Marseille available. The year later, 70, they brought back the Rider deck back out. So there wasn't all these choices now you got today. And then you got to worry about, am I using the best deck for me? Is there a better deck out there? One's going to work better. So you got all these decisions to make. And I think it's just like anything else. It's like, find a deck that works for you. It's a personal preference. I think they all work. As long as you like the deck, it's a fine deck. I wouldn't want to say one deck is better than another. As long as you like it and you're getting ideas from this, I like this artwork, I like this deck, I like the way it feels in my hands, you got a good deck. And the main thing is you're doing good readings with it. So I think that that's all you really need to worry about. I wouldn't say one deck's better than another. That's one of the things I think was a common question, is what's the best deck to get? Also, what's the best card spread? And I don't really think there is such a thing as the best card spread. I think as far as practicing goes, practice with the 3-card spread. I think that's a good way to do it. And like I said earlier, it's just because you want to learn how one card interacts with the next card to the next card to the next card. But there's the horseshoe spread, the gypsy spread. I use the cross, but whatever works for you. I think you are better off with having one spread though. Some people would go with, for relationships, I use this spread. For career, I might use this spread over here. For something else, I might use this life spread and all these other spreads. I think you're better off with one spread. You've got one spread down and you know it like the back of your hand. And that spread will be useful in any question asked of it. I think you got a good spread, which is why I took my Celtic Cross and I refined all those positions. I made my positions with a cross that I felt would be useful to any question asked of me, no matter what the question is. The aspects I'm looking at, the position meanings in my cross, I feel will be helpful to any question asked. The only reason I still use a Celtic Cross pattern on my table is because that's what I learned with initially, but it has no other bearing. There's nothing else really there. I don't have to use that pattern on my table. I'm just so used to that pattern, I use it. But it's the position meanings that I think are really important. And I think if you're looking into what, why, how, and when, if your position meanings pertain to pretty much those things, I think you'll have a good spread. You know, what is the real question? Why do you want this in your life? What do you think you're going to get from it? How are we going to achieve it? And when do I act on this? Those are useful things to look into no matter what the question is. You have the client going to walk away with some type of insight, either from one of those four aspects or maybe even all four of them. What is the real question? That gives you the opportunity to rephrase the question, fine tune it. And then why do you want this in your life? Maybe you think you're going to achieve something that you're really not. Maybe you're going about doing things the wrong way to achieve this. Maybe there's other things you could be doing smarter than what you're doing. Why are you taking these actions? What actions are you taking? Why do you want this in your life? I think why helps cover that part of it. And then how are you going to get it? What opportunities are out there coming? What actions do you need to take to make this this type of thing happen? And then when to act. Do you act now before opportunities are lost, or you act at a later time when there's a better advantages for you to get this done? Maybe sometimes it's better to wait. And I think those are important things to look into. And I think that's better than hopes and fears and outside influences and things like that. Now, if you want to use those, that's fine. But I think you're better off with finding a spread where you're going to find some useful direct suggestions or ideas for that person on what they're trying to look into. And if you have a spread that's going to cover things like that, no matter what the question is, you're always using the same spread over and over again. And when I'm doing a phone reading, I don't do a Celtic cross. I just throw the cards out, and usually I just do 3 cards, 3-card spread. And as I'm talking to them, I'm turning over 3 more cards and maybe 3 more cards after that. So it's a lot more casual with a phone reading, but it works out very well. But as far as an actual spread where there's people sitting across from you and they're seeing these cards, have a spread that I think, if you have a spread that you could use no matter what the question is, it's always the same spread. You get so used to that spread, you know it like the back of your hand. You don't even have to think about it. And then it gives you a lot more focus on interpreting the cards and that type of thing. Stuff that's going to be useful to the person. So that's my suggestion. I have a couple other readers that are friends of mine that I thought were going to might be able to come in here yet today. And what I wanted to do with that, and this includes you guys too, but now I got to figure out a way where we can go or take people off of mute and they can talk, because you're going to find every reader you know does it a little different. So maybe like Rick or some of you other people might be experienced readers right now. You're going to have different opinions and different ideas that I don't have, and they work too. Intuition I could talk about too, and I think that because that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be an intuitive application of thinking, and it is, and I think it isn't it. But I think of intuition with a tarot reading. I like to look at, with me anyway, it's more like I like the analogy of going fishing. If you're going fishing, you find a good location, you use the right bait, the right tackle, and you throw that line in the water, and now you got to wait for a hit. So it's got to come to you. And I think intuition's that way too. You can set the setting, you can set it up, and wait for intuition to come to you. I can't will intuition to come to me. I can't decide intuitive insight on somebody because they want me to. But if I leave myself, if I put myself in the right situation, then I welcome things to come to me. And I'll see them in the cards. And I think you will too. The more you do it, the more you get used to these cards, you start using them that way. You'll start to use them looking at them as there any intuitive insight I'm seeing from this card? I know there's a meaning to it, but what am I feeling from this card here? With this person sitting across from me, with this issue that they have going on. And they'll start talking to you. And really what I think you're doing is your mind is doing all this, but you're allowing yourself to see it through the card. So I think you're getting an impression from that person anyway. And you might be thinking you're seeing it strictly in the cards, but I don't think that's really the case. I think you're seeing it more from your mind. Linda just joined. My partner. And the thing is with a lot of people, including Linda, don't even use cards. Hi, Linda. You awake? Now, Linda used to use cards, and she didn't. Now she doesn't. She just talks to you. So she's just a psychic now. And I think a lot of people, I know there are other readers who started with cards who just now are just, they don't bother with them anymore. Me, I'll always use cards. I just like them. I just like them. But I think the more you read and the more you're looking at questions from people and trying to find answers, the more you do it, just like anything else, the better you get at it. The more you see you're using your imagination and you're using your intuition, it starts to get stronger. Just like anything else. The more you use it, the better you get at it. And you'll start to see intuitive insight because at first you don't trust it, really. So you see something in the cards and you want to say something, what you're seeing, and even though it has nothing to do with the question, maybe. You just want to bring it up, but you don't say nothing because it sounds stupid to you. You don't trust it. You think, no, I'm not going to mention this. And then later on in the reading, they bring it up to you. And it's like you're thinking, I should have said something, because I saw that in that. I saw that, what she's saying. So pretty soon you don't want that to happen. So you start just, anything that's coming into your head, you stay in because you don't want to miss anything. And so the more you use them, the more you'll see that your intuition starts to develop. And I think that the card meanings that you learn are more of just a starting point, which is why I like keywords. Anybody who's watching my YouTubes know I use keywords for the meanings. I don't like 3 or 4 sentence definitions. My book's got 3 or 4 sentence definitions in them, and they have keyword meanings. But I think the keywords work better. And I've done a lot of classes where there's a group like this, not this big, 61 people, and I'll say something like the fives, the five of wands, 5 of cups, and the other 5s. And I'll say 5s mean change to me, some type of change. That's a key word. And I'll say, write down 5 things that can be associated with change. Write down 5 other definitions of the word change or the meaning of change. These could be phrases. These could be one word. It doesn't make any difference. And all that whole group will all have different things written down. You might have one person writes down modification, another person alteration, winds of change, spare change, change of heart, Mama Kia. So everybody has different ways of seeing the word change, which means now you're seeing that meaning of that card through your eyes, not mine. Instead of memorizing what I'm saying the card means, you're putting your own feeling of what that card means, your own interpretation. And I think that that's when you're really reading, because you don't want to be reading cards thinking, well, Vince thinks this card here means this, so that's what it means. No, what am I getting from this card? So that's why I try. V, how are you? This is why I try to I try to teach you how to read the cards through your eyes, not mine. I don't want to teach you how to read like me. I like to teach you how to read like you. And I think that that's when you're going to do that anyway. You're going to learn what I'm talking about. And then you're going to talk to somebody else. You're going to read this book, that book over there. You're going to grab a little something from this, a little something from that, a little something from over here. And you're going to blend it all in. I like this from over here. I like that from over there. And you're going to make your own way anyway. Okay, Linda, what's going on? Oh, okay. All right, I'll tell him. Okay, I'll tell him. Okay, I'll tell her right. Okay, I'll mention that right now. Okay, but that was Linda. She just wanted me to tell you she can't say hi to anybody on the chat because her keyboard is jammed. It's not working. So she'd like to say hi to all of you, but she's not. So I'm going to unmute Linda just to say so she can say hi. Go ahead and say hi, Linda.
Hi, everybody. Thanks
There
for
you
coming
are.
to Vince's get-together. Kia, V. I don't know these other lovely people, but
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of people from all over the world here.
really?
Yes, all
Oh,
over.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, right. So we got a great crowd here.
Good.
And, okay, I'm glad you were able to, I'm glad you were able to get on here, and I'm glad you were able to you got Kia on here too, and V.
See their. Let me see if I find their pictures.
Linda reads. She's like I said, she's a psychic now. She just doesn't. She hasn't read. She doesn't use cards unless.
There she is. I
Yeah,
see.
she's there. 10 years. I don't think Linda's used cards. Hey, Mama Kia, how are you?
I'm excellent.
That's good. You guys look good. And yeah, so we got a great group here, and that's what we would have going.
Hey, Vince.
Hey,
Can you hear me?
Mr.
yeah, I
B.
can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good. Someone keeps asking how to deal with difficult clients
Someone's asking that over here.
over and over again.
I got to read these things.
Okay.
Okay.
So what would you suggest? How would you deal with a difficult client?
All right, I'll answer that. All right. Well, I tell you what, though, you get better at it as you read. If they're drunks like to talk. That's one thing. So you can get them to you ask them a question and they'll start talking to you. So you get them talking instead of giving you a hard time. They'll start telling you their life story. If they're a skeptic, if people will say, okay, well, you tell me, you're the psychic. They want a cold reading. I tell them, I can give you a cold reading, but the more I know, the better off you're going to be as far as your reading goes. And usually they'll start to loosen up. You just keep asking questions. So they say, well, you tell me, you're the psychic. Okay. What's going on with you? Well, you tell me. Well, how's relationship? I'll just start asking questions. How's the career? How's the job? Got kids? How long you been married? Look at the wedding ring on their finger. Keep asking them questions, and eventually, and they'll say, well, yeah, everything's fine. Or they'll finally say, when you say, how's the relationship doing? Then they'll say, well, yeah, that's why I'm here. We got a problem. Or whatever it happens to be. When you hit on, if they're coming to you for a reading and they're paying you money, they have an issue. So and that's one thing for sure. They're not going to put $50 on the table or whatever it is, $25 or whatever, without a real issue going on. And So they'll cooperate with you. They might want you to say something first. Just start asking questions. Just say, well, I'm seeing here, how's the relationship looking? How's the career going? It's usually one of those two things. How's the health? Family members? Everybody okay? And just start going down the list. And eventually they'll say, well, yeah, I'm worried about my mother. Her health isn't. You know, if they hit that something on that list, they'll grab it. And then you can start reading about that situation. And that's how I do it. And it helps a lot. You know, they could say, well, you're the psychic, you tell me. And I tell them, you know, that's like going to the doctor's office and saying, when the doctor says, well, Vince, what's the matter? And you say, well, you're the doctor, you tell me. You know, well, I can give you an MRI, an EKG, I can do all these things, and we'll find stuff wrong with you that you don't even know is wrong with you. But it's a lot better if you just tell me what's the matter. And, you know, so, yeah, you could play that game. The hardest readings I think you're going to have with something, usually they'll open up right away as far as a difficult client. The hardest ones you'll have are not difficult clients. They're usually going to be the house party. Because the house party, now you have people getting readings, you know, the host hired you to be there. So they're paying you, whatever, $100 an hour or whatever they're paying you. And they have a bunch of people there. And so, we're going to have a psychic here today, you know, it's going to, you know, and you go in the room and one person goes in the room, then the next person, and the next person, and the next person. And they don't have any issues going on. They're just part of the party. And they're saying, hey, Sarah, go get a reading. Well, I don't want a reading. Well, yeah, go get a reading. What's the way you got to, you know, it's free, you know. So they go in there. They don't have any issue going on. So they say, okay, I'm here for my reading. What's going on? So what's going on with you? Anything? No, they don't have no problems. Everything's fine, you know. So house parties are usually the toughest. But if you're at somewhere where there's people seeking you out for a reading, they're seeking you out because they have an issue. So I say house parties are the hardest. Bachelorette parties are the easiest thing. They're not, those are easy because they're all in their 20s. They all want to get married, just like the bride's going to get married. They all have a boyfriend. So it's like, just tell them, yeah, this looks real good. You look real happy. And that's all they want to hear anyway. So they're just having fun. But that's the whole thing. You gotta remember that something like that is just for fun. If you have a situation where a problem reading, okay, another type of problem reading might be somebody who you think's on the verge of suicide. And we used to keep a psychic hotline, the suicide hotlines. Lynn and I did phone readings, psychic lines for about 2 months. We quit it though. It was terrible. But you know, somebody you think's ready to commit suicide, or you think they're at that level, you got a problem there, and you would rather give them to somebody who you might say, well, look, why don't you call this number? I think they could help you. I think you might want to talk to somebody, but that's about all you can really do. The more you do it, the better you get at handling those types of things. So problem readings, problem clients, I don't really know. There's all sorts of different kinds of that. And they're not just one. If you're doing taverns, then you got the drunks. Like I said, ask them questions. They'll answer them because they like to talk. Drunks love to talk. And they'll eat up the whole 15 minutes talking to you. By the time you're done with them, they're going to be shaking your hand, giving you hugs. You're wonderful. You know, so that's not a problem. You think the drunks would be the worst. Usually they're the easiest. The hardest ones are the house parties, like I said. To me, that's my opinion. And so to answer that question, I think that's how I did it. How would you say that, Linda? What would you say?
The hardest readings?
Yeah. I'm putting Linda on the spot here now.
I think if people are really closed, if they're they're blocking their own emotions. If they have walls up because of their situation, then they're blocked. They're not really open to even accepting anything because they're fearful. So it doesn't make a difference where you're at. It just makes a difference with the person. You know, the person, your clients themselves.
Okay.
You know, so
Okay.
again, I have found that creating a comfort zone, talking about something that has nothing to do with the reading, sometimes is very helpful. Like people like animals.
Oh, okay.
Pets, or touch on something that they can get comfortable with, and then the difficult reading will get easier on its own.
Okay. How about
The
you?
most difficult readings I think I've ever had were, again, people that are so closed. They're so closed within themselves. So they're just afraid to say anything, and they're afraid to hear anything too. And then you feel like saying, well, why are you here?
Linda and I don't talk about our readings. You know, you think, well, we would be talking about this. At the end of the day, we don't say, well, how does this reading go? It's like a mailman taking a walk on their day off. You know, we don't want to talk about it. So you're off the clock now, you know, and so that's why I would say I would curious to hear what you would have to say, Linda, because we don't really. How about you, Kia? Would you like to add anything?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
It's perfectly acceptable to say to someone when they walk in the room and they're difficult, the energy is not conducive for the healthiest outcome here. Get your money back.
Okay.
I don't do that. If you want to sit with me, it's okay. I love it. Let's enjoy each other. But if they're really caustic, I'll say, energy is not conducive for the best reading here. Please get your money back. I don't even waste the time. I don't need to convince. I don't need to do whatever. It's amazing how people will respond.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's I would say that's good advice.
Because
Don't-
really, honestly, money is wonderful, but it's not about the money. It is about the energy that is exchanged. Now, if they're exchanging energy with me so that they can be negative and all this other stuff and say, well, you're psychic, you should know all that other stuff. Well, hey, listen. Okay, get your money back. I would do that right away. Why would you come and even try to sit with me if you have that attitude? I don't think so. Not happening here. That's my opinion. That's just how I roll. And I've only had to say that twice in all the decades. Twice. So.
Well, Kia, you've been around a long time. So you and I and Linda, just to everybody know, we've worked together for many years in different places. And so we've known each other for what, 20 years?
Oh my, yeah. Lifetimes.
Yeah. Long time. So thanks, Akia.
You're
Linda.
welcome.
A lot of people are asking questions.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh yeah, Mr. Peep is asking a question, I think, lower hand, and then Wendy's asking a question. All right, are you in the chat here? Let me see if I can find the see, I'm lost with this thing. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I could hear you, yes.
It's not Mr. Peabody, it's Jerry Reed. Hello.
Oh, Jerry, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good to see you.
It's good to see you also. And
Jerry's from Washington.
Congratulations on this first shot. I'm impressed. And that's what led to me wanting to ask a question.
Okay.
So what I'm picking up is that this is an amazing brain pool of people that are here right now, now.
Right. I think so.
And,
A lot of experienced readers here.
I'm wondering whether you have any ideas that where you could be maybe a clearinghouse, not to put work into your lap, but where, if we wanted to make further contact with any of the people that are here, that we could do that. I mean, lots of people are doing tarot readings. What's the percentage of people that are doing tarot readings that are using a Marseille deck. And what's more, the Vincent Petici Marseille deck. So, you know what I mean? So just is there a possibility of taking this further in terms of contact? Not that we have to, it was an idea. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. And yeah, I think what I'm thinking where this is going to go is I think each month it's going to get better.
Right now I'm in a Zoom meeting. And so
I got to turn it off. But I also think I think it's going to get better, and it's going to as we progress here, there is going to be more communication with each other. And I think I really do feel that way. I think this is going to be something that we could keep going with, you know, and I'm not too sure where this is headed, but I do feel that it's gonna be better than right now. This is just the beginning one, and I think that they're going to get better as we progress, because I think this is a great group, and it's also the fact that I know that some of the people, a lot of the people in here, probably there's some experienced readers in here.
For sure.
Yeah, so I know that they're here, and I want to be able to interact with everybody in a way that
well,
we
somebody
can share
is
ideas.
suggesting, more than one person is suggesting a Facebook page, and that's actually happened with some other tarot groups that I've become a member of, and maybe that's the way to go. I don't know who sets that up, but
Yeah, I know. I have some people try to get me to do a Facebook. I'd have more exposure for my books if I did that. I don't want to I don't want the Facebook thing, because it just gets, I have to figure it out better, because I know what I'm going to end up doing is right now I do a lot with YouTube. And if I go with Facebook and YouTube, I'm not going to be doing as well with both of them. And I figure, well, I'd rather do one really good and not do two half-ass. But Facebook is a good thing to have with this. Yes.
I'm going to have to leave now. I have
Okay.
reading to do. I'm reading some of these chats on the side, and I think it must be a girl. She's asking, her mic's not working, but her question was, are you going to write a Marseille tarot book?
Oh, okay. Okay, yes, I am. My next book, the one I'm working on now, I wanted it done by the end of this year, and it's going to be on the Marseille, and it's going to be using my deck, and which is why I made the deck, because I really wanted to just have my own deck for that book instead of buying the rights for one.
Okay, bye-bye.
But all right, Linda, I'll be over there soon.
Bye, everybody. See you.
Take care. But yeah, to that question, thanks, Linda, for letting me know that.
Yes.
I'm not watching these chats over here on the side. And thanks, Jer, for your input. That was some good ideas there. You know, yeah, good to see you here. And but I am going to be writing a book on the Marseille, and I really think with that book, the Marseille, my books so far, I've used the Rider, and because everybody uses that deck, and I'm going to be I use the but the Marseille, I think that book's gonna be a little different because I'm using my deck and it's a Marseille deck. So I think the style of the book might be a little different than what I'm usually writing. Anybody else want to say anything? Anybody else want to say something here? Put it in the chat, and I'm going to see what they got here.
Hey, Vincent, I don't know if you can hear, but there are 3 people that have raised hands. If you look at the chat, the little blue hands next to them.
Mr. Peabody, Wendy, and yes. Okay.
So they may want to speak. I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry to jump in.
No, thank you, Brian. Thank you. Okay. Apurva. I'm going to lower the hand.
Hi, Vincent. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. How are
Hi,
you?
I am doing good. I am from Delhi, India.
Okay, well, great. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, hi. First time I have been on Zoom call, so it's a new experience for me.
Okay, well, you're doing great.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for taking my question. I
Oh, yeah.
wanted to know, yeah, how to clear the Dex energy, and is it fine to use Dex during jumps like menstrual cycle? Because in India we worship cards, like we worship God. So is it fine to use it during our menstrual cycle? Like we have a thing for sacred rituals we
Sure.
should not touch.
Right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yes. You know, it's interesting. Native American have situations the same way, where during menstrual cycle they don't they low key things. I don't see any
Yeah.
problem with that. As far as I'm concerned, sure, you can use it anytime you want. So if you like to use it, if you feel like using your deck and it's during that time, you go right ahead and you should be fine.
Oh, okay, okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah. And how to clear the energy of the cards? How do you do it?
I like to take my cards and I take oil, essential
Okay.
oils. You can buy different essential oils like frankincense or things like that. And it's just a little vial of oil. And I'll take that vial. I just take it.
Yeah.
I just go like this with it on my finger. Get it on my fingertips like this, and I'll just take each card and I'll just do like this. Just rub it and then put it off. And I'll take maybe 4 cards like that, and then I'll do 4 cards like that, and then I take some more oil like this and put it on my fingers and do 4 more cards, and do the whole deck. And you'll have, when you shuffle those cards, you'll have that smell coming in, and it just smells nice. Another thing you can
Wow.
do, you can wrap them and you put them in a special box, or wrap them in some special piece of cloth that you have if you want. I don't really
Yeah.
do much of that, but I do have. I think it does help to have. If you got a special box or a special bag that you keep your cards in, as long as you like it, I think that's a good thing to do. Me, I
Oh,
like to
okay.
use, which a lot of people know, I use my blue jean pockets. And the reason I do that is because it's, maybe you had a pair of blue jeans for 10 years. And so they really you become attached to them, I mean, it's that pair of blue jeans that you look at and you think, I'm going to wear them one more time, because they got holes in them, their knees and all that. They're like, one more time, then I'll throw them out. Then they end up in the wash anyway. They get washed again. There's another one more time. But finally, you go, I got to throw these out. Well, you take the back pocket and you make a pouch for it. And that's how I do it. I made a YouTube on how to do that. It's just basically cutting out the back pocket, leaving the waist part up for a flap. And to me, it works. You can also wrap them in a bandana and get them in here. And to me, it works out nice because those jeans were with you maybe for years. So that's a real connection to you. And that's something that you can't replace. It's something that's you. So it's your vibration on those cards. And they keep the cards nice too. So, I mean, if you're doing outside work, like
Yeah,
carnivals,
absolutely.
yeah, if you're doing things where there's rain outside or anything, this thing, you can beat the hell out of this. It's not going to go anywhere. And
Okay. Yeah.
so
Thanks a
that's what I,
lot. Yeah, for the elaborate answer. Yeah. And I wanted to know, how do you come to know that you are meant for tarot? When will I come to know that it is a thing for me, or I can take it as a career per se? Because whatever I have taken, I have never completed anything. So I'm really skeptical about this one.
don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid if you never completed anything. What's good about that is if you tried things, and if
Yeah.
you never completed them, it's because you took the time to try them and realize, you know what? Now that I'm getting to learn this, I don't really like it. You go, I'm going to try this over here now. What's good about the tarot, you take these cards, and let's say you're getting into them for a while, and then you decide, well, I don't have time right now. You put them in your top dresser drawer. That's it. 6 months later or a year later, you pick them up. Yeah, my tarot cards. I want to look at these again. I'm getting back into them again. If it's learning how to play the piano, that's a different story now. You got this big piece of furniture in the house, and you're not doing nothing with it. It's just taking up space. And if you sell it, then you can't say, well, I want to go learn how to play the piano. No, you got to buy a big piano again and bring it back in the house. But this is easy. You can pick these up, put them away whenever you want. And there's nothing wrong with trying things and not finish them. It doesn't make you look like you don't know what you're doing or not. No, it makes you look that you're interested in things. You're just interested and you're curious. And it's fun to look into. And the more you look into it, the more you realize, no, maybe this wasn't for me. And it's one thing to say, well, I said I was going to try to do this, and even though I don't want to do it now, I'm going to stick with it. Well, no, that's not the right thing to do. I mean, I think there's certain things in your life that you could just say, well, I always had an interest in it, but not that much. Or now that I've gotten into this, I don't want to do this, you know. But it's nice to be able to try it. And so there's nothing wrong with that at all. And it's a good experience. Have fun with it.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much for your answer. Thank you. I'm really glad that you took it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you can continue. I've taken already so much of time.
Oh, that's quite all right.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad you were here.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
It was a pleasure.
Okay. Take care. And I'm
Bye-bye. You too.
Somebody here, I'm going to unmute. All right, Brian, are you unmuted, Brian?
I think so.
Yes.
It's such a great pleasure to interact with you in real time like this, Vincent. Thank you for making yourself available to us. I love your YouTube, and I love your books, and I love the new deck.
Good.
I started with tarot about a year ago, and you're thinking about things in the way that you explain things. I think that early on I saw a video from you at the Theosophical Society, and that was profoundly influential to me. I just wanted to say thank you, and I also wanted to mention something on what you just said. I bought my first deck for myself like 16 years ago. I thought, oh, I'll get a tarot deck. I was always interested in it. And I looked at it, and I got Joan Bunning's book at that time, and I looked at it, and I stuck it in a box, and it stayed in the back of my closet for 15 years in a box until last year. My daughter got interested in there was a song that mentioned tarot. And I said, oh, have you ever seen a tarot deck? And she's 15. And she said, no. And I said, I think I got one somewhere. I pulled that out. I started doing, for some reason this time it took. Before it was just like, oh, well, that's cool. And I stuck it away. This time it took. It's profound. It's just changed my life in so many ways.
That's great.
Health-wise and all kinds of other stuff. So I'd agree with you. People shouldn't give up, and I'll mute myself again now. Thank you so much. Man.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And that's great to hear. That's great to hear. Thank you. And I think that that's what is nice about it. You can put it aside for a while if you want, and pick it up again, But so that's what's good about it. How about Shell? Shell, I got you on.
Hi, Vincent. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about people who do these tarot readings online, like on, say, YouTube? A lot of those YouTube channels, people have like readings that they do. How do you feel about that kind of thing? Do you think it's a privacy issue, or how do you feel about that?
Well, that's an interesting question, because if you look at YouTube, you could say, okay, like I do YouTubes, but I don't do readings. I do sample readings, so I shouldn't say that. But I don't do a reading for Capricorn in March or May of 2020, and here's what the reading would be. or a reading for Taurus this month or whatever. Those people have a way bigger audience than I'll have. If you look at some of those that are very successful, they could have 50,000 subscribers. And it's because people want to get their reading for the month. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If they're getting people watching them, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not into that. I've had people tell me, I ought to do that because you'll get more hits. I'm not really, it's not a concern with me. I want people to come to my channel because they want to learn about tarot cards, not so much about what's in the stars for me this month. But if you want to do that, a lot of people want to learn how to read tarot cards, so they can do that. Nothing wrong with that. If you want to do that, yeah, there's an audience out there for it. And especially now, you're not bothering anybody. If people want a reading, they're going to Google you, reading for the month, and you're going to get, they're going to come knocking on your door. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, go ahead and do it.
Thank you so much. It's good to have clarification.
Yeah. See what else we got here. We got, I don't know. I don't think that's it. I think, anybody else have a question? How about Shell? Did I ask, Shell, did we ever talk? I don't even know. Was that who I just talked?
Yeah, you just spoke.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Well, Andy. Okay, Andy.
Thank you for answering my question. Great website. I'll just take a second. It's what made tarot consumable and learnable for me. So I really appreciate the site, the keywords, all of that stuff. It's dead on. With your Celtic cross, with the timing card, when you get a court card, for example, Knight of Swords, King of Cups, right? What does the timing issue kind of, what does that interpretation look like?
You know, that's a great question, because a lot of people with my cross, position 8, timing, that's what people want to know. How do you interpret the timing? And I don't know if I should really, I'm trying to think of maybe another way to word that, because I don't really look at that position as a date as much as I look at what to do now, how to act now. And that's what I mean by timing. So in other words, if you have something you want to accomplish, when's the right time to act on this? When do I approach this person about this? Or when do I move on in this situation? The timing of it is what I mean by that. And I don't really see so much a date there as much as I see, is it a time to act now, or do we wait until things tie down, or do we wait until I get more information from position 6? Or do I wait until I got something squared away with my understanding of my question in positions 1 and 2, or whatever? Do I wait till I sharpen up my assets in position 5 before I act on this in the timing? So I look at my timing. Huh? I look at my timing as more when to act, and maybe on how to act, than it is on an actual date. And if that helps at all.
It does. I think what I heard you say is, for example, let's say card 6 is going to be the King of Cups, right? So we will look at the mission when we do enable us to complete whatever the mission is. Card number 6, King of Cups, would look at a compassionate way, know that we need to care for others around us, something like that, right? And then timing position 8 is going to be Knight of Swords, right?
Okay.
So the Knight of Swords would be like, hey, you probably should be getting a move on. Or are we waiting for the proverbial Knight of Swords, another outside entity, like another person that's going to come in, and that would be the signal to start?
Okay.
The other opposite of that, just to make sure I'm explaining this right, because I am very new at this, and it might be me that's not explaining.
You're doing great. Yeah.
If you're position 8 and you have the 8 of Wands, obviously, hey, whatever you're doing right now, like leave this thing and go do it and get this ball going, right? 8 of Wands. That would be the I guess, the easy button. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm seeing that. Well, that's good. Now you said the Knight of Swords in 8, and you had the King of Cups. I think you said in 6 was one of them. Okay. So to me, you could look at that as saying, well, time to act. When we get in the position of 6, that's an opportunity. King. With me, I have the Kings as knowledge. I see you getting more knowledge is your opportunity. You got to get more information on this situation. That's when you act. That's one way you could look at it. Say, yeah, act when you get the knowledge. First, you got to get this information. That's when you act. Right now, you don't have it all. Wait until you got what you need. And then you act on this. So when to act? Yeah, the time is right to act as soon as you get all your ducks in a row. Maybe, that's how you could interpret it that way. You can interpret it the way you had too. Depends on you, the reading, and the person sitting across from you and how you see it. So that's great. I just wanted to give you an aspect of where I saw it and how I would use the timing in that.
I understand. Thank you so much for explaining it. It's much clearer now. I appreciate it.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. And now, Damien.
Hi, Vincent.
Hi, Damien. How are you?
Good. How are you? I'm in Chicago as well.
Oh, good. Okay.
I was just asking, do you have any update on your deck? When it's going to be on sale again?
Okay. Right now, I'm working with Amazon, setting up a seller account. My books are, I'm published with Amazon. So books are a different story. This will be sold on Amazon in the U.S. probably by July 1st. By the time I have the decks printed, shipped over to Amazon somewhere, and the account set up, we're working on that now, me and Amazon. And the U.S. or the UK will probably be toward the end of the year. And after that, I'm not too sure. We'll see how it goes. I might sell them. I might sell them myself overseas, but it's a real pain in the neck. I got to fill out a form for each one. I take it to the post office. There's no guarantee. There's no insurance available. And I think with I've done it January and February till the virus came around here. In March, I just closed it down. And that's when I said it's not for sale anymore. But I'm sure that they will be for sale overseas. We'll work something out, but I'm not too sure when. Believe me, this deck will be back out again. Like I said, we're working on that now. Should be pretty soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I got Jay, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jay.
I had a question about your deck. This right here,
yeah.
The Devil's Hand, I'm holding it up so everyone else can see it, but it kind of looks like the blade of a sword. Is that what is intended there?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the blade of a sword, showing that he could hurt himself if he knows, if he's using this stuff. The sword's not finished. Doesn't have a handle on it.
Right.
And he's playing with something he could hurt himself with.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, right. At least that's the interpretation I heard. And that's a classic look. I mean, I just copied what standard deck is, but yeah, you're right. That is a blade of a sword.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Now I got Serena. Serena?
Hey there.
How are you, Serena?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Vincent. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Well, I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
I was wondering if you read for yourself a lot.
No, I don't, and it's funny because I'll have lots of times I'll have the deck, in front of me. I'll be just watching TV or whatever. I got the deck in my hands. And I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at them like this, and I'm thinking about something in my mind, and that's about as close as I ever get to a reading. Is that well, Eight of Cups? Well, yeah, I could see that for something that's going on in my mind. But an actual reading for myself, no, it's like the saying, you know, the cobbler always has holes in his shoes.
Right.
You know, and so no, I don't read for myself. And Linda and I, we don't read each other either. So we've been together since '93. We probably stopped reading each other 6 months after we got together. You know, so I mean, so we don't really read each other. So I would say that it's interesting. That's an interesting question. You'd think that you could do it. Why don't you read yourself? It's kind of hard to do, I think. I think you could. If I really had a question, I really don't think I need the cards to read myself. I think I could think about a card as I'm looking into a question in my mind and think, does that help me or does this help me? And I might do that now and then, just let my mind drift. But to actually do an actual formal spread, but I don't. But you could, and if you did it, I would suggest journalizing it, journal it, document it. And this way you can look at that spread, not only today, but you can look at it tomorrow and the next day. I would look at it more than one day. I would let it sink in and see what you think about it again and again, because you will see different things in that spread in the course of a couple days. You know, so I didn't see that Emperor card this way until yesterday. I didn't see it that way. Now I'm seeing it this way. And you'll see there's different things it's telling you. So nothing wrong with reading for yourself. I think it's a good idea.
But you hold the cards a lot then when you're just hanging out?
Yeah. Yeah, they're in my hand a lot. And just because they're always around, you know, I don't even know where I put them. No, I just put them somewhere. I don't even know. Oh, here they are. But yeah, I do hold them. And because they're, you know, they're usually around me. And so it's just something to do with my hands. And so, you know, I do that. They're always around me. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a good vibration to have. So they're close to you.
Yeah.
And they're easy to do too, because it's not like I said before, like if you was talking about the piano, I always got to be close to my piano. You got to sit in the same room all the time. But these you can carry around with you. And I don't know, with me too, I got cards all over the place. So you might end up with that. You have a certain deck in your car, or in your house, or in your other room, over whatever different place. You might have 2 or 3 decks hanging around, and that might happen for you too. It might just not be one deck, but you'll have fun with that. You'll be able to carry them around, do what you want with them. Just don't leave them somewhere. Don't forget you got them there.
And then I have one more question.
Sure.
When you're laying out the cards, and some of them come out upside down, and I know that you don't do the upside down card readings, but do you does part of you kind of file that away, like, that one was upside down?
You know, yeah, I think that there have been times certain. It's more of a fluke with me though. Like maybe you would look at it and say, well, oh, this card means some great talent, or some great something got going in your favor. But it's reversed. Well, maybe it's something you need to develop. It's a weakness, but you need to develop this in order to make this happen. You can look at it that way, but it's usually just a little twist, a little niche here and there. For the most part, as soon as they're upside down, I turn them right side up right away. So as they're leaving my hand, if I see that this is going to be laid upside down, I'll turn it right side up. You know, I see it, you know, but sometimes they'll get thrown up there right side, right, you know, upside down, and I'll give it a look. But for the most part, as they're leaving my hand, I decide which way to lay it on the table. You know, so I try to keep it straight.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
See you next time.
You better believe it. How about Tarot Girl? Tarot Girl? Unmute. Okay.
Thank you for taking my question.
Yeah.
I just want to know if you've ever worked on a psychic network and what was your experience like?
Psychic network, I think I've worked in a lot of stores. A psychic network, I think you're talking about where they list you with other readers.
Yes.
Okay. We never did. We never did. I don't think we ever did that. Linda, we ever do that?
We worked on the phone.
Yeah, we did the phone thing, but we never did it. Never did a network where there, like, I think she's talking about like something on the internet where you Google psychic readings, and there'll be some list of something there, and you're one of them that they rate you and all that kind of stuff. We never did that. No.
Okay.
Never saw a need for it.
What was your experience over the years, and this goes to Linda as well, of reading over the phone? How did you find that kind of energy, and how did it resonate with the client?
I'll start out and Linda finish. Is when we first started reading over the phone, we were working at a pretty good sized store in the South Side, and Linda said some of the clients there were saying they would like to have phone readings. And people were starting to do phone readings at that time, more and more. And she said, Vince, do phone readings. So this is going to work out good. I said, I don't want to do phone readings. I don't want to do them. She's saying, do them. This is going to be good. And so I said, I don't know. And so she was doing them. And they was working out real good for her. And now I understand why. I mean, yeah, it's a good idea. Do phone readings. So I would say, definitely. That was years ago. Now I know what she was saying. Yeah, it's a good idea to do them. You're going to find it's half your business. You could be on vacation and still make money doing readings because it's your phone. Oh, Sandy called. Okay, blah blah blah. Yeah, you want a reading? Okay, and put it on. You got an account with them, and so it works out really well. And I think a lot of people are doing more of this now, the Zoom type of thing, instead of the phone reading. What I don't like about that is the phone reading. I could be sitting in my bathrobe at 8 o'clock in the morning and you're not seeing me. I didn't shave yet or something. You don't see that. Where this, you would. And so doing this kind of a reading, you would see me. So I have to look presentable, where you don't have to do that if it's a phone reading. But yeah, phone readings are very, very useful. They're very good. I have clients that I've read for 20 years that initially I met them and I haven't seen them in 20 years, 15, 20 years. And they still call me and we still talk and it's been years. So that's true. That really works. You could really get some real long-term customers. Linda, I'll let you finish.
Okay.
You're going to disagree with me on everything
now. Well, for one thing, I don't read tarot cards. I tune into the person energetically, empathically. I'm a sensitive. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. I think as far as the clients are concerned, initially, when they see me in person, and then there's been a situation that they can't, then they can realize the benefits of a phone reading. There's a convenience involved, like you covered, but also to give you an example, it's almost like a relationship, like a person that is in a long distance relationship. You're still communicating with each other, but you can't see each other. You can't physically be together. So you're almost forced to get to know this person in a different way. Your 100% focus is on that conversation. You're not sidetracked by obstacles around you or what you're eating for dinner or whatever you're doing. So there's a benefit in that. As far as the focus is concerned, sometimes people just listening to the words in it, there's no distractions at all around them. So they're listening to the words. And so some people feel that they get more out of that, actually, than being person to person. I believe everything is based on, starts from, is affected by, and goes back to vibration. So again, it's that interaction. You don't have to be there physically to interact.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's, again, people sometimes, and they just like to see you, like some people say, okay, I have Netflix and I can order any movie that I want to see, an amazing library. And some people say, you know what, I like to go out for the evening and have dinner and go to a movie and buy a box of popcorn and just like that for other reasons. But the main focus of the reading itself, I don't think it really makes a difference. But because it's based on the vibration of it, that interaction, that connection that you have with your client. So again, the convenience involved, like Vince said, it's very, very convenient.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes, though, what can be an issue is timing-wise for people because, there's people that have families, they have children, they have a husband or wife that's there, and they would prefer to be not interrupted when they come to see me in my office. Then that doesn't happen. They can shut their phone off. But sometimes on the phone, you've got crying children or whatever. Again, you're distracted, or you don't want somebody to even know you're having a reading. So there's a lot of variables involved.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Tarot Girl.
Can I just say one last thing?
Sure.
In one of your videos, which is very interesting, and I can't seem to find it again, one of your YouTube videos, you talk about, and this was a while back, you talk about the Fool's Journey, and you make you related it to back in the days when boys used to leave their family and the staff at the back and they have everything.
Right.
Is there, and I kind of get it with the Fool card, like, or the way you explained it. Is there any other card with any kind of relation to anything like way back then? I know most of the cards are, but like, for example, the Lover's card, when they're related to like relationship choices, having more than one relationship. Is there anything that I could read about that?
Well, I think that there's different aspects about the cards that you could look into and read about. I would say if you wanted to look into something like that, I think there's more material for the majors. I would say, oh geez, Sally Nichols, Jung and the Tarot, Jung, like Carl Jung, Jung and the Tarot, An Archetypal Journey by Sally Nichols.
Okay.
And she makes a chapter for each one of the major arcana. And there's picture about, she does a very good job with that. And I would say that would be a good book I think you would enjoy that book.
Okay.
And so I hope that helps. Go ahead. What would you say? Thank you. Thank you, Tarot Girl. And thank you everybody for coming. And I'm going to wrap it up. It's 2 hours. And I'm going to put this on YouTube. So you could watch it again if you wanted. But and next month, again, it's going to be the same way. The second Tuesday of the month. Same time. And so it's basically same time, same place. And I'm starting to get to see now here, when we just started at the end here, we were taking questions. I see a hand raised over. I'm getting to know this a little bit better. Somebody has a question like we were just doing, and we were able to answer them and talk about it. So I'm starting to get some type of a pulse on this, and I think it's going to work out well. And so thanks for coming, and I hope you liked this as much as I did, and we'll talk soon. Take care.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Kia.
Bye.